Welcome in. Oh, welcome in. I hated it. Gagged. Oh, now Luna's in the Christmas tree? Gross. I don't even remember his name. I am a crier. Just love of love. Wanting to die tragically. Like twice in a row. This one was only 2 boys. Millie? I would have eaten him up. I thought I would switch up the backdrop a little bit. 1, because you never get to see my Picasso back here. 2, last year's book tag, this is how I filmed it. So I thought it would be fun and nostalgic to film it this way. Maybe I'll do more this way. I don't know. Seems quirky. Mugs, get out of the tree water. But I'm also like, what's today? The 16th? We are bordering delusion, okay? We're getting into the delusional parts of December. This is the best I could do, okay? We're raw dogging the fuck out of this video. I am tired. I fell asleep at 4 a.m. last night. It is my own fault. I'm not saying it's anyone else's. Okay, well, like, I was editing the Q&A up until like 1:30, 2 a.m. And then I was on TikTok until 4. I read 1 chapter. I read a chapter of a book and then was like, let's just check TikTok. Mistake number 1. Never check TikTok. Never. Then I fell asleep at like 4 or something, but it's 11. I woke up like not dead, but I'm delusional and I was excited. This is one of my favorite things to film, so I'm very excited. Mugs! As I was saying, it's one of those end of year videos that I'm going to do every year. There's like 5 videos that I'm going to do, and they may seem repetitive, but I'm gonna do them. So the book tag is one of them. Welcome to the 2024 book tag. I fucking love stuff like this, like superlatives. Love them. I made a new coffee this morning. I bought some chai tea, like the chai mix. So I tried to make a dirty chai with my espresso, and I'm forcing the cup, and the cup is not big enough. So there wasn't enough room to make the right like ratio of everything, but it's fine. It's getting the job done, but I'm ready. I'm ready to not be sick, that's for sure. I've never been more sick than in 2024. It's just stupid. But I'm ready for the book tag. Who's with me? I do need my notes up though, because there's a lot of books. I took these questions mostly from my book tag last year, and I don't know where I got those questions from. And I added in some randoms. But let's get started. Okay, starting off. Most disappointing book of 2024. I also am really bad at just Mugs, no, not your chai. I'm really bad at just like picking one. I like to have multiples. So if I were to pick the most disappointing, it's a toss-up. I didn't even grab the other one because I told myself not to do this. I would say the honorable mention would be Reckless, just because I was so excited for it. It's not that I didn't like it or didn't enjoy it. I was just overly excited and too hyped up for it. So it was disappointing. But the most disappointing book was Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I still don't have the book. Logan has it. But I love Riley Sager, and I was so fucking pumped for this book because it's about like a little kid getting taken in the middle of the night. It was so painfully boring. Like painfully boring. I hated it. I hated it. And I love Riley Sager. God, it was such a letdown. So Middle of the Night by Riley Sager has to be the most disappointing read of the year, which sucks. All right, most surprising. This one. Okay, I think I landed on How My Neighbors Stole Christmas because I don't like holiday books like that. And this was almost a 5-star read. Like, it was so good. I ate this book up, like start to finish, ate it up. I never had any complaints, literally from start to finish. I'm like debating, is it a 5-star? Like, I don't know. Oh, now Luna's in the Christmas tree? So what do y'all do when I'm not here? Are y'all just bathing in the Christmas tree? Jeez. So most surprising goes to this Christmas Grinch book. It was so good. I never expect anything from Christmas books. So good. And for the people that don't like it, I don't get it. What is there not to like? Most overhyped. I don't even own it. Thank God. And I'm not buying it. Serpent and the Wings of Night. Let me say the whole title. The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I should have known how angry I was going to be about this book just based on the title. I talked so in depth about this book in a reading vlog. It was so hyped up. It was hyped up as much as like Quicksilver, as much as Phantasma. And Quicksilver is one of my favorite books of the year. Like top 6 or something. I think it was number 6. And it was just so, this wouldn't even get a 4-star read for me. Like, I wouldn't even recommend this book. I was so annoyed majority of the time. I was just so angry. I was so angry because I wanted to like it. There were so many plot points that I was like, why are we doing this? What is this? Hey! I'm running downstairs. Most overhyped by far. It's still getting hyped up. Where are the serpent and wing haters? Please. Okay, favorite book couples. Nick and Charlie, of course. I fucking love them. I would die for Nick and Charlie. Of course. Kai and Miller. His last name's not Miller. Kai and Miller and Caught Up. Just love. Just love. I just love them with all my heart. I think they're funny and they're hot and they're flirty in the most romantic and hot, sexy way. There's one more. The honorable mentions. Mac and Adina. I just loved Mac and Adina. I loved them so much. I want to reread it. I want to revisit them. They were heartbreaking to read, but love them with all my heart. Biggest crush. Kingfisher, for sure. He's so hot. Justin from Just for the Summer, because he's cutie and funny and romantic. You can't really call Kingfisher cutie and romantic. And I don't have it, but Rory Miller from The Fake Out. Love him. Love him with so much in my heart. All right, happiest book. I didn't have these last year. I think I did A Quarter Frost and Starlight, even though I cried a lot of it. I just don't read happy books because what's the point of that? If I'm not reading to be heartbroken, what's the point? I would say 90% of the series of Heartstopper gets to be the happiest. I cried so much, especially during the show, I feel like, but there's a lot that's not happy in this, but I would probably say Heartstopper for happiest. Saddest / made me cry the most. I am a crier. I cry in 90% of my books. But I gagged. I cried so hard in this one. I had to collect myself. I cried so hard in this one. I cried to the point of wanting to die. And Powerful. Yeah. Cried a lot. Where's another one? Oh my god. This one came out of fucking nowhere. I think that's why I cried so much in it. And it deserves to be told. I read this so fucking long ago. Darling Venom. I went into this completely blind. And if you've read it, it was obviously the first 50 pages. It was the thing that happened. Let me just read you this little blurb on the front. My first love ended in tragedy. My second began with his brother. I didn't see that. I wasn't expecting the first love to end ever. And it ended tragically. I was so caught off guard that I could not move on from him. I had to take a break for the night and I could not go back to the book. And then I sat here thinking about this fictional boy's feelings and what he did. And I couldn't move on. I was so upset. At his feelings. I could not believe that he felt that way and that he did what he did. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. I really couldn't. It tore me up. Most frustrating. I also don't own this one, but Mile High. Because I wanted to absolutely love it. I heard how hyped up the series was, which obviously I love the series now. It's probably my favorite romance series. But that first one was so frustrating to get through. I just was so angry the first 150 pages. After that, I got over it and I liked it. But the first 150 pages, I was so angry. I just hated how he talked. I hated the dynamic. I hated the writing, honestly. It was so annoying. But then once you got past that 150, it was fine. Longest book. The Court of Silver Flames at 751. Yeah, because I didn't read Kingdom of Ash yet. So this one was my longest one, 751. And then my shortest book, I also don't own it. There's a little novella from Valentine's Day, the drop cover, and hold on, it was 40 pages. And it was not good. Favorite cover, it has to go to Daisy Hates. I've had this book for over a year, so I tend to forget about it, but I read it this year for the first time. It's just so beautiful. I can't. These books I've had for so long, and I want to display them till the ends of time, and I haven't even read them all. They don't even hold a special place in my heart yet, but I still want to display them because these covers are so beautiful. I also said if I were to pick more, the Pumpkin Spice Cafe series, as a series, they're beautiful. They're just adorable, and they're homey. How can you not like those covers? They're just so pretty. I wish I liked the stories a little bit more, but it's fine. Luna just bullied Mugs off of her window seat. I don't understand why they think they can't share a window seat. Anyways, okay, most thought about book. I think that this is heavily because of the shows, but I would say Normal People and Heartstopper because of the shows. I think about Paul Mescal and Daisy Hates. probably once a day. And then I think about Nick and Charlie probably twice a day. So I don't, if it weren't for the shows and if I didn't have the attachment toward those actors, probably not. And I would assume go to something like Caught Up or the Silver Flames book, but I cannot get Paul Mescal out of my mind. And I cannot get Kit Connor out of my mind. Ugh. Cringiest. Okay, I did two different types of cringy. I did one cringy, like what you're thinking, where it was just like you were cringing reading like the romance and the sex. And then I did one that was like makes me uneasy cringe. So the first one, the sex romance cringy, was shocker. Twice in a row, it's the same author. That has to mean something. Okay, it's Tessa Bailey's Merry Ever After with the Shrek character. I just cannot read Tessa Bailey anymore. She's too cringy for me. I don't like it. I don't know who her target audience is. Is it moms? Maybe that's what it is. I don't know how old. Let me look how old Tessa Bailey is, because she doesn't look that old. Okay, she's 40. Kind of adds up. Let me look up Tessa Bailey demographic. Okay, so I guess Google can't tell me that. Whatever. She got it last year too with Wreck the Halls, which was another Christmas book. So okay, maybe it's just like Christmassy books, but anyways. And then cringiest, like makes me uneasy, I picked The Teacher by Frida McFadden, because I cringed so hard in that book while reading it, like I didn't want to continue on. Like I was uncomfortable. Best unpopular book. I don't read unpopular books. Like I'm a follower. I'm not a leader, I'm a follower when it comes to picking popular books. So I picked two books that like I don't hear a ton about, that aren't like crazy popular. I think that one was really popular in Book Talk, but first one would be The Fake Out in the Vancouver Storm series. The first was Behind the Net. Like Sarah read it, so it's popular, but I don't hear a ton about it anymore. And that one was like, I feel like that needs to be as hype as Icebreaker. Like that book was so fucking good. I gave it a 4.5, and I gave Icebreaker a 4.5. Like those two hockey romances were so good. My legs are falling asleep. And then the other one, I just feel like maybe it's really popular in the horror world. Like I'm not necessarily in the horror world. Like all of these books are majority romances and fantasies. So I might be on the outside of this world, like on Book Talk or like horror Book Talk. But Brother by Anya Alborn, so good. So good. And I love a good horror book. I'm just not like an avid horror reader. Spiciest. Where'd she go? Oh. Pucking Sweet, my girl Emily Rath. This one was only 2 boys, if that makes a difference. It wasn't Pucking Around where it was 3 boys, but love a good little polyamorous relationship. Definitely the spiciest, for sure. Like, look how many pages, look how the opportunities she gave to have spicy scenes. Ate it up. Highest versus lowest rated on Goodreads versus like what I thought based on those. So I don't own the lowest that I read. And the lowest was a little Christmas novella, so I don't really know if that counts. So I picked a different one too. But The Alba My Elf was a 2.62. And yes, that was like my least favorite. Over Tessa Bailey's that I talked about, those little Christmas novellas, it was my least favorite out of them. So adds up. From books that I like own, the lowest rated was Love in the Time of Serial Killers with a 3.3. Absolutely agree. I think it should be less. It is so boring. There was no chemistry. There was nothing to it. Absolutely nothing to it. And it had nothing to do with serial killers. It made me so mad. I thought it was going to be way more about that, and it wasn't at all. It was just a bland romance story. It wasn't anything special. And then the highest was, shocker, Sarah J. Maas, Empire of Storms, which I completely agree. Out of all of Throne of Glass, this is one of my favorites. I'm still debating. I'm highly debating like what Throne of Glass books I like the most, because I've realized about myself that I don't like them in the same order that most people do. But this is one of my favorites because it focuses a lot on 2 of my favorite characters, or like they're just in it more than other books. Adds up that it's the most. Got something in my eye. I can feel my throat getting less and less as I go on. Favorite quotes. This is hard because I'm not looking through every single fucking book about what my favorite quotes were. Sometimes I'll screenshot some like as I'm reading. Oh my god, what is in my fucking eye? So from the ones that I had screenshotted, it was a quote in Caught Up. I'll put it on the screen, but it's basically just him talking to Millie. Millie? That's not her name. He never even calls her Millie. Gross. Not that the name Millie is gross, just like that doesn't fit Miller. I'm not gonna read the quote because it's gonna sound gross coming out of my mouth, but it's just like talking about how, because she's 25 and wants to change her career that she spent like her entire life working towards, and she feels like she's starting over and is scared to start over, and he's just saying like, you're 25, like you could change 100 times over and you're not gonna be a failure. Like you are way too hard of a worker, and that life is meant to be chasing happiness, and it's not like about your work. So that, and it made me cry when I read it. So that it just like resonated, and it was really beautiful. Most unique concepts. I have 2. Shocker. I feel like I didn't read that many unique concepts, and I don't like picking fantasies because like they're like, I guess you could say they're unique, but they're just like made up worlds. Like they're not that unique. They're just, the world is unique. So I would say honorable mention would be Daisy Jones and the Six. Like I tried to pick book concepts that were unique, like the way that they were written and the plot. Daisy Jones and the Six, because she wrote it in the form of like an interview, and I really, really liked it. And just like going back in time and seeing their band through the years, loved it. Thought it was really cool. And I've never read one like it. So, and then I would say the Mindfuck series. Reading about a female serial killer, I feel like that's rare, and like I feel like it's been done a couple times since this has been really big, but reading about a female serial killer dating the director of the FBI who is searching for her, that's crazy. That's crazy work. I love it. That is so unique. I hadn't heard anything like that before that. And if there is one, let me know what it is, because I would like to read it. Okay, scariest / most anxiety. I also picked 2 very different types. Like the scariest, I didn't read that many like horror scary novels where I was scared. It's also very hard to scare me in a novel, but I had a lot of anxiety reading Brother. Like I never knew what was gonna happen, and that one was more anxiety ridden. And then I picked a book where I had anxiety from start to finish because I knew what was coming. I knew the ending, and I never knew how she was gonna make it happen. So I picked Powerful. It's like I could never rest this entire book. Could never rest. I was so riddled with anxiety the whole time. We're getting to the end. God, this is short. All right, the best and worst sequel. I would say the best sequels. To win this, it had to have been better than the first book, which is hard to do in a lot of these. But I would say The Fake Out and the Vancouver Storm series, because it was way better than Behind the Net. I didn't really like Behind the Net. And then, not that the first one was bad, but I liked it significantly more than the first one, Daisy Hates. And I stand by that. And then the worst sequel, without a doubt, Ruthless Vows. This is almost one of the more disappointing ones too. Like this could have gone in most disappointing. I would have had to have been more excited, and Divine Rivals wasn't like my favorite book ever. So like if I was way more excited, it could have been. But this was just, I hated it. I was so bored, and I wanted it to be over, and the end was the most like obvious ending that could have happened. I don't know. Just did not like it at all. All right, least favorite book. Middle of the Night is a heavy contender. This would probably be my second least favorite, but least favorite book, I was so angry reading it the whole time. The Lying Game by Ruth Ware. Feels random, but like I've read Ruth Ware a couple of times and didn't mind the books, but I literally feel like I've read so many thrillers this year that I did not like. Like multiple of the thrillers that I read, I didn't really like, so I feel like I'm straying from thrillers more and more each year. It was the most boring, no plot book that I've ever read. I didn't care who they killed. I didn't care how they killed or who died. The Lying Game itself, the literal game, the Lying Game that she's referring to, isn't a part of the plot at all. It was so stupid. I hated it. I was listening to the audiobook on 2.5 speed. I've never listened to an audiobook that fast. I just wanted it. I was like, please finish. I'm so tired of this fucking book. And I hate DNFing. I hate DNFing a book. One day I will get to the point in my life where I can DNF a book, but I think it's the OCD in me. I cannot have a book that I just didn't finish. You want me to just not know how it ends, even if I hate it? Okay, and then that brings us to my favorite book of the year. If you watched my top 24 reads, you know the toss-up between the two, but I think I've decided what it is. I think I've decided the deciding factor. It was between Caught Up and Just for the Summer, and in my last video, I talked about how, or in whatever video I talked about it in, I talked about how this one was more heartbreaking, and I love a heartbreaking book. If it makes me cry, the rating is going up. This one was more heartbreaking, and this one felt more personal. I'm gonna say this is my top book of the year because of everything else that goes with it, because the found family, the friend group, like the interconnected series, like in the Windy City series, all the books. I love those characters, and I feel like they're more involved in this book than the other books in this interconnected series, if that makes sense. Like these characters, this is with like part of your world and yours truly, I believe, and they're just like not that involved. They're like a little bit involved, but not really. And then these characters are way more involved in these people's lives. Like we see them way more often. They're in multiple scenes. They go and see them all the time. So I think that's why this is number one. Congratulations to Caught Up, you're number one. Shocker. All right, that's all the questions. All the questions. Let me look up real quick, see if there's any random fun ones that I like left out. Oh, I did leave a couple out. Hello? Like favorite new author that I read this year? Did I read Abby Jimenez last year? Is the question. I didn't. Okay, so it's a toss. Of course it is. It's a toss up between Abby Jimenez, but Abby Jimenez has never failed me. Never. Every single one of her books has been a hit for me. Or Liz Tomford, which I didn't like Mile High, so like there's a chance that she can let me down with a book coming out. And like Play Along was okay, it wasn't my favorite. Abby has never let me down, not once. So she really did it for me. I think she's my top author of the year. Okay, these are some fun ones, like fun random ones that I'm just gonna add in because my light went out. I think it's getting overheated. I think that's what's happening. This is literally hot to the touch, this cube that I have it plugged into. But now I just need to wait for it to cool down so I can plug it back in. If anyone knows how to avoid this situation, because it's happened now in 2 of my videos, I don't know what to do to avoid that. It's never happened until now. All my things are breaking. I'm gonna need to get a new ring light now. I'll be back when this is done. Okay, I found a different cube to use, so let's hope it works. The fun random questions. What book is on your nightstand right now? I looked and I have all these books, but it's from this, so it doesn't count. I have Nightmare Before Christmas, Christmas in Coconut Creek, and Iron Flame. I'm doing my Iron Flame rereading. If you could meet any writer, dead or alive, who would it be? Oh, these are way more fun than mine. Okay, Lauren Roberts is young and seems like she would be cool to hang out with, but Callie Hart, she's made me laugh multiple times, so like she would be cool to talk to. Sarah J Maas, obviously, because I think she's fucking brilliant. Alice Oseman, because I want to kiss her on the mouth because she's a fucking adorable. Abby Jimenez, because I used to watch her on Cupcake Wars and I would tell her that. Also like Sin Lin Yu, who wrote Manacled. Yes. What books might we be surprised to find on your shelves? I don't think you would be surprised by many. Maybe like if you don't know me, you'd be amazed to see the amount of Marvel Legos I have on my shelves. Even though that's not books, it just is on my shelves. I have a lot of Spider-Man comics. Those are books. I don't know. I'm not that shocking of a reader, I feel like. What books have you always meant to read and haven't gotten around to? Anything you feel embarrassed never to have read? I technically have never finished the Harry Potter series. I am like one of the biggest Harry Potter fans I know, and I've never read the series. I read 1 through 4 because I started them like last year. I just never read as a kid, so I didn't grow up reading them. And then I was obsessed with the movies so much that I never got around to reading the books because I know how it ends. So it's hard for me to read them when I have so many other books to read. So that I'm embarrassed to say I've never finished the Harry Potter series. Ooh, author you've read the most books from. That could be fun to see. Oh. Dang. It's definitely Sarah J Maas because I read 8 of hers this year, for sure. Ooh, I'm just like finding more and more questions. Sorry. I didn't want this to be 10 minutes long. Current read is basically the ones on my nightstand. The Nightmare Before Christmas is my like very current one. Drink of choice while reading. It depends on the time of day. During the day, I gotta have my coffee or chai. And then at night, I like to have a tea. I love a tea. And it's usually a green tea, like either a pomegranate or peach. E-reader or physical books? I don't know. I love my Kindle. I really do. But I have to own the physical book. So I guess physical book. Fictional character you would have dated in high school? I would have desperately tried to date any of the Mile High. Why do I always call it the Mile High series? It's not what it's called. I would have desperately tried to date any of the Windy City series characters. Specifically, the main character in Play Along. I don't even remember his name. Kai's brother. I don't even remember his name. What the hell? Let me look. Isaiah Rhodes. I would have eaten him up. A cocky golden retriever baseball player. Yeah, he would have been mine. Kinds of books you won't read. Probably like, I don't want to say historical fiction because I do want to get to like Kristen Hanna books one day. But probably just like nonfiction or like anything about a war. Oh, 1 is number of bookcases you own. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so 8. Preferred place to read. Series you started but need to finish. Throne of Glass. Yes, desperately. My goal is to read it all in this year, and it's not gonna get done. Unapologetic fangirl for Fourth Wing. And ACOTAR. I'm gonna stop. I think I need to stop. I'm getting into like multiple book tags. That's it. Okay. I was gonna end by just saying all of my 5-star reads of the year. I didn't have that many, and 2 of them were 6-star reads. Wow. I honestly didn't have that many 5-star reads. A Court of Silver Flames. That was an instant 5-star read. Powerless. I feel like I had to think about it a little bit, and I ended up deciding 5 stars. This is a novella. The Exception to the Rule. That was a really short Valentine's read. I honestly feel like I would need to reread it to stand by the 5 stars, but I gave it 5 stars at the time. The Mindfuck series. If you don't know this series, it's books 1 through 5. It's 5 little books put into one. Not every book was a 5-star read, but the series as a whole was a 5-star read for me. And then Powerful. As small as it was, 5-star read. I loved every single page. And then my 6-star reads, I feel like that's obvious. Caught Up and Just for the Summer. They were instant 6-star reads. So that's it. Oh my god. That's the book tag. I'm hoping, because there are a couple more like end of year book videos that I'm looking forward to doing, and I'm hoping they don't start sounding the same. They're all very different, but like I will talk about some of the same books in them. So I will keep the same books to a minimum when I talk about them in other videos, I promise. Because I love those of you who watch all of these videos, so I'm not going to bore you to tears with that, okay? But thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the book tag. That's all I got. I will once again see you tomorrow. Hopefully looking a little less tired.